Okay, a lot of people still have many questions about the vehicle, her vehicle, things of that nature. So this is the official incident report and the supplementals that have been released so far in the Debbie Collier case. So the incident type is person down. The location was Georgia 15 northbound prior to Victory Home Lane, Clarksville, Georgia. Incident date September the 11th, 2022 at 12:20 p.m. Deborah Todd Collier is the victim's name. White, female, 59 years old. The vehicle type was a 2022 Chrysler Pacifica van, black in color. And then it has a list of the name of the authorities that were on scene, including the investigators, sergeants, and the coroner, all redacted, of course, their addresses and phone numbers. It's an active case. Now, please look at the very bottom one. I found this one very interesting. Investigation indicates that this incident was drug-related. Yes. Type of drug? Unknown. Found that very interesting. On Sunday, September the 11th, 2022, at approximately 12:28 p.m., Sergeant Ethan Neal was notified by the Habersham 911 dispatch that a caller from SiriusXM service had been pinging a vehicle per the request of the Athens and Clark County Police Department in reference to attempting to locate a missing person. The caller from SiriusXM advised dispatch that they had been attempting to locate the vehicle and believed that it had stopped or pulled over in the area of Georgia 15 northbound in the area of Victory Home Lane in Clarksville, Georgia. The vehicle was identified as a 2022 Chrysler Pacifica, black in color. The missing person was identified as Deborah Todd Collier. Sergeant Neal requested that Officer Dakota Foster, Tallulah Falls Police Department, to be en route to the area to attempt to make contact. A short time later, Sergeant Neal was notified by Foster that he had located the vehicle. Sergeant Neal responded to the scene. Johnson also advised Sergeant Neal that the last communication from Collier was to her daughter. He advised that Collier had used Venmo to send approximately $2,300 to her daughter with a message that stated something to the effect, "They won't let me go, and the key to the house is underneath the flower pot." Upon Sergeant Neal's arrival, he observed the vehicle parked in what appeared to be a pull-off that leads to an old logging road directly off Georgia 15 northbound, prior to Victory Home Lane. Sergeant Neal was notified by Foster that he had observed this vehicle in the same spot at approximately 1700 hours on September the 10th, 2022. Now, 1700 hours would be 5 p.m. We know that she walked out of the Family Dollar on this very day at 3:09 p.m. The Family Dollar is 12 to 13 miles north of this location, but informed Sergeant Neal that the vehicles routinely pull into this area. Foster also advised Sergeant Neal that the vehicle was unlocked and was unoccupied. Foster also stated that he had walked into the woodline a short distance to see if he could immediately locate Collier, but was unable to do so. Sergeant Neal requested Lee Arundel Correctional Institute K-9 Lacey K-9 to be en route to the scene. Sergeant Neal also requested Georgia State Patrol Aviation, JSP Aviation, to be en route a short time later. Dispatch informed Sergeant Neal that Lacey was unable to respond due to the unavailability of a K-9 and was advised that GSP Aviation would be en route. Sergeant Neal requested Deputy Blake Forrester to be en route to attempt to locate Collier. While on scene awaiting the arrival of Forrester, Collier's daughter, Amanda Bearden, arrived on scene in a hysterical state. Bearden began screaming that the vehicle belonged to her mother. Bearden was notified by the Athens and Clark County Police Department that the vehicle was being pinged by SiriusXM and provided her with the approximate location of the latest ping. Sergeant Neal and Foster spoke briefly with Bearden asking general questions in reference to Collier's mental health state, and briefly about her medical history. Bearden advised Sergeant Neal and Foster that her mother did not have any history of any mental health issues and denied any suicidal tendencies. She also stated that her mother had a bad back and couldn't have walked far. While speaking with Bearden, Forrester arrived on the scene. Sergeant Neal briefed Forrester on the incident and requested that he deploy his K-9 to attempt to locate Collier. Forrester deployed the K-9 and began searching for Collier, accompanied by Sergeant Neal and Foster. During the track, Sergeant Neal allowed Forrester to stay approximately 25 to 30 feet ahead of him while he and Foster scanned the woods for any sign of Collier. As Forrester proceeded south and southeast through the woods, Forrester called out to Sergeant Neal that he had located an item. Sergeant Neal and Foster quickly approached Forrester. Neal observed a red tote bag laid on its side near an uprooted tree at the root ball of the tree. Neal observed what appeared to be the remains of a fire. As Neal approached the fire, he looked further down the embankment, and Neal observed what appeared to be a partially burnt blue in color tarp. As he looked further down the embankment from the tarp, he observed a nude female laying on her back, grasping a small tree with her right hand. Neal approached the female, immediately observing her to be obviously deceased and identifying her as Collier. Neal observed Collier's remains to be apparently burnt, with what appeared to be charring to her abdomen. Neal instructed Forrester to hold the immediate area while he returned to his patrol vehicle to make the appropriate calls for assistance and to enable a crime scene. Neal returned to his patrol vehicle, established a crime scene using crime scene tape around the immediate area of the vehicle, and began a crime scene log at approximately 15:06 hours. At this time, Corporal Andra Townsend arrived on scene and took over maintenance of the crime scene log for the duration of this incident. Neal contacted Habersham County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigation Division investigator George Kaysen and requested his response to the scene. Neal also requested that the State Fire Marshal's Office agent Brian Smith be en route to the scene. A short time later, Kaysen, along with investigator Cale Garrison and crime scene technician Kayla Neal, arrived on scene. The scene was turned over to Kaysen, Garrison, and Neal. Sergeant Neal requested Next List Wrecker, RJ's Wrecker Service, to be en route to remove the vehicle. Upon completion of the initial investigation at the scene, Collier's remains were collected by Coroner Kenneth Franklin, with assistance from Habersham County Fire and EMS personnel. RJ's Wrecker Service removed the vehicle. Sergeant Neal followed RJ's Wrecker Service from the scene to the Habersham County Sheriff's Office, where the vehicle was placed into evidence. Sergeant Neal returned to service. Okay, this is the officer's supplement report of Sergeant Blake Forrester. On September the 11th, 2022, at approximately 1:30 p.m., Habersham County Dispatch placed a call to Deputy Forrester in reference to a K-9 assist for a missing person. Deputy Forrester and K-9 Zane was requested to respond to the area of Georgia 15 just south of Victory Home, where a vehicle was located for a missing female from Athens, Clark County. Deputy Forrester responded and arrived on scene at approximately 2:20 p.m. Forrester was briefed by Sergeant Neal, advising that the female had been missing from Athens, Clark County, and they located the vehicle just prior to calling for the K-9. The female was described as an older female, late 50s, possibly 60s, and had back problems. Deputies on scene did a quick scan of the immediate woods but did not push in. Nothing was in the vehicle and there was no known clothing description nor direction of travel, if she was alone or if someone was with her. Deputy Forrester deployed his nationally certified tracking human odor K-9 Zane. He cast it around the driver's side door of the vehicle and pushed into the wood line on what appeared to be a logging road. They pushed in, casting for odor approximately 50 yards northeast, could not establish any track. then cast it south and southeast. Zane was able to establish a track working south to southeast away from Tallulah Gorge and away from Georgia 15. Zane tracked in that direction for approximately a quarter of a mile. At around that distance mark, Deputy Foster noticed a red bag through the brush. As they kept approaching the bag, he noticed a blue object that appeared to be a tarp. As they continued to approach, he noticed further down a hill, maybe 10 to 15 feet, a tan object that as he approached, he could tell was a human body. At that point, Deputy Foster held what he had visually clearing in the area for any threat and called for Sergeant Neal to come to his position. Neal approached him and saw what Deputy Foster saw and approached the body to confirm that it was a female. Upon further visually inspecting the area, Deputy Foster noticed that it was in fact a female body. As you see here, about 6 or 7 lines maybe, has been redacted. And this redaction comes immediately after describing the female body. Very interesting. Sergeant Neal returned to his patrol vehicle and obtained crime scene tape to establish a crime scene while Deputy Foster and K-9 Zane held the scene. The scene was turned over to investigations upon their arrival. Deputy Foster stayed on scene in case further assistance was needed. No further action from Foster for the rest of the incident. And this is a supplement report from Officer Andra Townsend. On September the 11th, 2022 at 15:02 hours, Townsend was instructed to respond to Georgia 15 near Victory Home Lane in reference to an active crime scene. Upon arrival, Townsend obtained the crime scene log and was responsible for maintaining the crime scene log by listing each person who entered and exited the crime scene. The crime scene log was turned over to Sergeant Neal when the crime scene was released. So that is all, to my knowledge, that has been released on this case yet, except the initial missing persons report, which I will briefly show after this. But as of yet, this is the only official documents to my knowledge that has been released. And again, I do find it very odd that, as you see here on the bottom, investigations indicate that this incident was drug-related, yes, and the type of drug is unknown. I do find that very interesting. Okay, and for those of you that may want to see the missing persons report, it is here. Debbie Todd Collier, 5'4", 140 pounds, blonde hair, brown eyes. On September the 10th, 2022, at around 6:08 p.m., I was dispatched in reference to a missing person. Upon arrival, I spoke with the caller, Stephen Collier. He informed that he had last seen his wife, Deborah, the night before, just before going to bed at around 9 p.m. He stated when he left for work this morning, the vehicle Deborah drives was still in the driveway, so she should have been home. He clarified that he and Deborah slept in separate bedrooms due to his snoring. I also spoke with Deborah's daughter, Amanda, who was also on the scene. She informed that at around 3:17 p.m., Deborah had sent her $2,385 through Venmo. There was a message on Venmo with the money sent that said, "They are not going to let me go. Love you. There is a key to the house in the blue flower pot by the door." Amanda said the message scared her and got her worried for her mom, so she tried calling her, but she did not pick up. Amanda also informed that her mother did not take anything with her but her driver's license and debit card. She also informed that her mother left in a black Chrysler Pacifica that she had rented due to her vehicle being in a wreck. They informed that they did not know the year nor the tag number for the vehicle, which is rented through Enterprise. Both Amanda and Stephen stated that this is unusual for Deborah to do this. She has not done anything like this before. The family informed Deborah doesn't have any family in the area besides them. Dispatch, myself, and Deborah's family attempted calling her several times, but it would go straight to voicemail. Deborah will be listed in the GCIC as missing. The family was informed to call 911 if Deborah returns or calls them back. Recorded on Exxon. Media reported crime scene photo. This is a recently sawn off tree that was found, and 2 burn sites mark the area where police discovered Debbie's body in a ravine near scenic Tallulah Falls. from where her vehicle was parked. It was about a 15-minute walk that led to a site downhill where this was spotted, which is part of a tree that had been sawed off. Forensic gloves, along with pieces of paper and what looks to be like a strip of the back of a book cover, and the yellow crime scene tape was scattered every 3 to 5 feet around the area leading to the spot where Debbie's body was discovered. This is the Collier home, which is 60 miles from where her body was located. Her body was located very close to Tallulah Gorge waterfalls. As more information becomes available, I will be bringing that to you as well. Thank you all so much for listening, and until next time, this is Unjustified. Thank you so much for watching, and do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave us a comment below on your thoughts of this video. And until next time, this is Unjustified.